Okay, hello, good evening, welcome. It's Tuesday, and that means that it's Startup Tuesday, which is very interesting because it's about starting up in business. Anyway, no, so I got a couple of very interesting things for you today. So, and they're kind of, the classic counterintuitive thing. So let's dive straight into that. If I could remember which thing I'm in, it isn't that one. But let me just check me stream whilst I'm here, because that puts my mind at ease. Makes me think that I might be going out, which would be great. Yeah, we are. A couple of very interesting. Fantastic. I love it when that works. Okay, so let's get straight to it. So the thing is that you start a company, a startup, and it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a SaaS or a business or a retailer or a wholesaler or a product manufacturer. It's always the same sort of thing. And when we do that, basically we have for want of a better way of putting it, we have kind of one revenue stream, okay, and we might be tempted to diversify and to broaden out and all that kind of stuff to reduce the risks. But the problem with that is that one of the best ways to market basically is to niche down. And when you niche down, this is the purity, you're reducing your chances, and you're increasing your risk, but you're increasing your success. Okay, so how do we kind of get the best of both worlds? How do we niche down and increase success? Let me put increased success in there. But how do we diversify? Hang on, let's put that in red. Okay, and then at the same time we want to scale. Well, actually, scale is one of them, and then diversify would be another, which would reduce risk. So we've got this kind of scale thing going on, whereas we've got these two kind of top things on one side. I can't really put it up there anyway, and two things on this side, and then this is kind of like the pivot of the swing. So if we niche down, we increase success. And if we diversify, we reduce risk and we can scale. But the two are kind of opposite. They're opposite really would do. I'm sure there's a good word for opposite, but I can't think what it is. So how do we what can we do about this? That's the question. Let me just send that to the back. Okay, but hopefully you can see why the two work in opposition. Because if we niche down, the marketing becomes easier. We're more likely to increase conversion. So success is going to go up because we're talking specifically to some customers and the right customers, and we're maximizing the value for them. But when we do that, obviously we're reducing scale and we're increasing risk because we're not diversifying. We've got a small bucket of customers which we're doing very well out of, but if anything happens to them, then all our eggs are kind of in one basket, to use that expression. So what do we do about that? Well, this is the aha moment. Basically we can do theming and self-competition. Okay, so theming is really an idea that comes from I first discovered it in the gaming world, really, where you take one kind of game, a platform. Because if you think of most games, they're all very, they're very similar. A shoot 'em up is a shoot 'em up. Some sprites running across the screen. In a different game, the sprites might be of something else, and it might be in a spaceship instead of a castle, instead of underwater or whatever. But basically, it's still some sprites running across the screen, shooting each other up. And you can change elements of the gameplay and make it, harder, have more or less enemies, but you get the picture. It's basically some sprites running across the screen. So when you want to do a completely new game, it's not necessarily the case that you have to change the engine. Okay, normally you can just change the backgrounds and the story and the characters, and maybe you mix and mash stuff up, like levels, and maybe you have different power ups and different point things, and maybe the flow of it is different, but ultimately it's the same engine. So even if you thought, well, we'll do it completely from scratch, because it's a different game, you'd end up coding the same thing pretty much, basically. And if you'd coded it well to start with, you're not that likely to code it that much better, probably worse actually, because you're doing it again, and maybe you're getting lazier, and you haven't optimized it as much. So once you've got an optimized game engine, or certainly 4 or 5 of them, so you might have a shoot 'em up, you might have a a quest one, you might have a I can't think of the word now, but a rolling one, you might have whatever, all the different, there's about 10 different actual game types, if you like. So once you've got a stable of 4 or 5 of them, then pretty much any game you're going to make is going to be the same engine, really, and it's the graphics and the characters and the story that changes, and the gameplay. But again, the gameplay, which is really how hard it is, what the power-ups are, the flow of things, the order of things, how difficult things are. That's really the gameplay. And again, really they are just kind of sliders or tweaks or numbers, in the same engine. Because again, every engine will have these same kind of qualities and features. So, as I say, even if you decided to do it again from scratch, you'd probably end up pretty much doing the same thing, if not worse. And the end result to play is not going to be that different, because it's all done, in the story and the characters and the backgrounds and the sound effects and all that kind of stuff. So, so when we reskin a game, we're changing the most notable things about it, and the sounds would probably be one of them. So, one of the things that would, you would throw away in the game would be the sounds, and you would start again, with the sounds. But, even in terms of scenery, a tree is a tree, a mountain is a mountain, inside of a spaceship is the inside of a spaceship. How different can they be? So, at some point, you might take the same LCD panel from your spaceship and put it in another, spaceship. So, things can be modularly, can't say that word, but I think that was right, modularly, skinnable. Anyway, so that's the history of games. But what if we applied that to business? So how could we do that? So the reason why this came up for me today was because of this SaaS that I'm doing called Instant Christmas. So Instant Christmas is obviously about creating an instant Christmas vibe for your, in this case, for your blog, and the theme is Christmas. And that's fine, but that's all it does. So that gave me an issue in that, this is the moment to sell it, and that's why I'm doing that. But after Christmas is gone, what happens next? I've gone to all this trouble to get this, WordPress plugin to have all these features, and it's great, and it's really good for the users, and it really makes your blog different. So what happens next? Well, after Christmas, obviously there's New Year, so there's that, and then there's the whole kind of resolution and positivity kind of thing, and then something probably happens in February, but then we get all the January sales, so that happens in January, or maybe that's February, and then April, we've got Easter coming, and then so there's a whole heap of other events like Christmas, but that aren't Christmas. And the thing is that they all basically work the same, in that you would jazz up your site in the same way. Now the graphics are different, so that's the throwaway bit. So there are different packs of graphics and art to do in it, but they're going to appear in the same way excuse me, and in the same places. There isn't 1,001 different ways of what should we say, icing up a website. So basically that made me realise that I've basically got an engine that I can reskin with the different different holidays and stuff and events. But then events gave me the clue that it needn't just be holiday events. It could be an event like a flash sale. So anytime somebody wants to put on a flash sale, they could literally just turn on the plugin, and then if you like, the flash sale would be live right across their store. Okay, and then there are other instances like the flash sale where there can be special events that aren't even holidays. Okay, so we've got holidays and we've got events that are non-holidays. So now we're really talking about a graphics engine that changes the complete look of your site with one flip of the switch. And as well as doing that, in the pro version, whatever you want to call it, it lets you control your advertising site-wide in the same kind of way, and you can run a different set of adverts. So if you've got now if we've got a fashion store or something, we've got the seasonal collections. We've got winter, autumn, spring and summer collections. Again, we can run flash sales in the thing. So it's really just a way of of controlling the graphics to feature and focus on whatever is happening at the moment. So now it's a 24/7 365 day useful plugin. You just changed the graphics pack. So that made me realize that it was if it's $50 and you sell 1,000 of them, that's a 50k product, which is okay. It's not great. It's kind of the the salary of a typical American kind of job. So it's not bad for one product, and and it would do that just in the Christmas period. But then if we're adding these other, say, 10 different themes throughout the year as well, now it's suddenly a 10 times 50k, so now we've got 500k, so now it's a $500,000 a business, okay, off the one engine. Now obviously doing the graphics and stuff and the theming isn't free, but it's a small, well, not that small, but it's a part of the engine. But if the engine's already done, then the engine's already done, and it's just reskinning it or theming it. You see where I got the word theming from now. To make it into a new product. But it's not even a new product per se. It's a new product, what should we describe it as? Variation or something like that. Okay, so that's one thing. So suddenly this 50k 3-week project, which is okay, became a £500,000 business, complete business, and the markets it would appeal to suddenly shot up, and then anybody who runs any kind of WooCommerce store on WordPress, or any kind of store on WordPress, because this is a blog-based WordPress blog plugin, would benefit hugely from this, even forgetting the seasons. So now it became an all year round seller to all these kind of markets where they have any kind of seasonal merchandise. So anybody whose product line changes throughout the year, fashion, food, really, what other things might happen, sports, holidays, because the different types of holidays, we might go from winter holidays to tropical holidays and all that kind of thing. So whenever there's a theme change or a theme change that we can put in, then this plugin becomes immensely useful, because instead of having to redesign a whole theme or install a whole theme or get designers to do a new theme or whatever, you literally just put in the other plugin with the other graphics back, flip the switch, and then suddenly it's doing all this stuff. Anyway, so that was exciting, because 50k to $500,000 is exciting. I'm excited. But then, there's the other side of the coin here now, which is, I've said that by skinning it, we're almost appealing to different people, but it could be that we're selling it to the same people, okay? So it could be that by reskinning it, we're selling it to the same people. But then when we reskin it, it might appeal to different people completely. So, this is to, aiming at maybe the festive people who want to, brighten up their blog, and maybe they do that kind of thing. But now this is appealing to the fashion store or the food store or the travel store or whatever. Even computer stuff changes at least twice a year, so they could completely retheme their site for twice a year for the new kind of computing. So anybody who does that, now they're suddenly thing. So now we've suddenly got, I don't know if that's vertical or horizontal really, but we've got this other kind of market which I hadn't even initially considered. And then something else happens, in that there might be other kinds of people who need this to happen. So people who run courses, or events or trade shows, like Olympia or anything like that, car lines possibly. What else might change? Any kind of again seasonal conditions or data or entertainment. Again, if you're a TV station and you change TV shows 4 or 5 times a year, then when you want to feature your latest show, well, what do? You turn my plug-in on, and suddenly you've got a complete focus on the current TV program. But the beauty of this is that you're not having to re-engineer your entire site, because this plugin basically puts the graphics in the right place for you site-wide, and then you can control it from there. And then, as I say, you can control the ads from there. So suddenly now we've got 3 different types of market, all from the same potential skinning or theming. But then something else happens, which is what I was getting to. So if we want more market share, one of the ways of doing that, as weird as it's always sounded, is to be your own competitor. Because if each business you set up can take 10% of the market, and for whatever reason, let's say you can't take more than 10% of the market with each business, and I'll explain that in a second, then if you want 20% of the market, you just set up 2 competing businesses. Or maybe they're not competing, but maybe they're differently placed. So that was the thing, why maybe you can't get more than 10%. So when you have an idea and you're targeting it at the niche, like we said at the beginning with this seesaw thing here, it's usually we have to tune in to why can't I turn that around? We have to tune in to there we go. A particular audience, and maybe that particular audience is of a certain size. So by having another business, another brand, if you like, which basically, in practical terms, really just means, another website or something like that. Which isn't terribly expensive to do, because everything you've done, will basically be the same except for the the branding, the logos, and that kind of stuff. So by setting up another brand, you can get access to the next 10% of the market. So now you control 20% of the industry or the market, whichever words we want to use. So we can increase the market share basically by competing with ourselves. And also it's quite often that maybe there's a different flavour. Maybe one set of people would respond, say, to ease of use and simplicity. Maybe they're not technical. So you can change your product, your interface, or whatever, to be like that. But on the other hand, you can also get or stock or change or unhide the deep editing capabilities, or maybe they're there in both, but you don't mention them to the easy people. You just say it's template based. You want to change it, change the template. But the people who really want to drill in, you go in and you say, hey, you can drill into the templates, create your own templates, change the CSS of the templates, and really make them your own. But those two messages are confusing side by side. You can't be the non-technical technical platform. It doesn't make sense. So you're either non-technical and you appeal to those people, or you're technical and you appeal to those people. Well, guess what happens when you do what I just said? When we rebrand it with basically the same thing, we then get the opportunity to change the marketing and the angle and the USP and the niching and the hook and the targeting, and all that kind of stuff, and the reputation and the kind of testimonials that would attract a particular type of person. Because again, if you have a mishmash of testimonials, half of them or more won't be like them, so they're not going to work as great as testimonials which are like them, because they want to tune in to people who are like them. And this is the problem. And it takes it beyond the just change the landing page or change the campaign to appeal to these people, because you've still got a brand identity even behind all of those different types of versioning. Whereas with the rebranding, when you take the the theme and you change the theming of it, then you actually and you've got a new brand to do that with, then you're actually giving yourself a fresh lease of life to go in the different direction, and for that direction to appeal to the new set of people that you can't get. So it actually allows you to be non-technical and technical at the same time, but you do it by using the two different brands. But the product, or the product line, or maybe you're just buying it in, or maybe you're just being an affiliate for it. But the way that you can talk about it, the way that you message it, is now suddenly very different, because it's another brand. So again, just by theming it and giving it a new identity, new brand, then you're definitely increasing your market share, because it's a market that you couldn't have entered, the market that you couldn't have got with a single brand. So this is what I mean by when you compete with yourself, that you that you can increase your market share and get yourself a new set of attraction marketing for a new kind of customer or niche. Now the other thing is, you might think, why would you do that? Is this a good move? Aren't your costs just going to double your turnover, and those kind of things? And the short answer is no, not really, because when you can do use the same platform and reskin it or retheme it, when you can take even a stock line that you buy in, and you just accent those particular themes for that particular market, again, it's not doubly as expensive. You could use the same warehousing. You could use the same address. All you need to do is have another company name and another domain name in terms of online stuff. You could get you probably would need 2 phone numbers, but the people answering the phone numbers could be the same if capacity isn't reached. They just have to know which brand they're answering the phone for. But all these things are super cost saving, and all the things that you've worked out about how to sell it, the kind of support issues that come up, the way the logistics work, the delivery, everything else is kind of common, and that means that your costs of doing those are vastly reduced. So it does make it for a very efficient kind of business, but it is diversified because the different topics and the different groups of people and the different markets that they're each in give you diversity to the market, so you can extract all the good bits, so the kind of campaigns to run, you should know the best marketplaces for each type of audience. And because it's a new brand, you can actually be in each one. So you can appeal to the non-techie people and appeal to the techie people at the same time, but just with different brands. And whichever one they buy, they're both yours, so it doesn't really matter to you. Obviously, we're not trying to directly compete with yourself, because they should have their own unique angle, USP, targeting, niching, set features, topics, theming, style, in particular, of who they might appeal to. So again, if you're I think we're a great example of that. But if you're some sort of shoemaker, and you can make any type of shoe, then to appeal to the younger woman, you need to make shoes in that sort, and you need to target those kind of women. But in terms of your factory and your logistics, you just set up another brand which is great for, let's just say men, for men's shoes, and then you have a brand for men's shoes. But it's not that your men and your female shoes are directly competing, but you are taking more market share from the shoe industry, because now you're catering for men and women. But instead of confusing your messaging and saying the perfect shoes for men stroke women, which again doesn't work. When your adverts you run, you're a man woman, then we have the shoe boot for you. It's just messy. It's just that the messaging isn't clean, the marketing isn't clean, and the hangouts, the targeting and the kind of places where they hang out and what they are into are going to be completely different. So again, by having different brands for the different demographics, in that particular case, we can optimize each brand and each brand's campaigns to tune in to the specific audience. Anyway, so that's basically it. I think you can see that it's a huge magnifying technique, kind of in almost on a three-dimensional basis, where we can just take the one idea and we can basically by skinning or theming or topicizing, if that's even the word, the product, and it could basically largely be the same product or same product line. It's just that the way that we message it will be different, because it's appealing to all these different things. But the great thing is this seesaw thing here. Excuse me. In that we can niche down and increase our success, but because it's a different brand, even though with the one idea, we can also increase the scale and the diversity and reduce our risk, basically on the same offers, on the same products. Sorry, because the offers are different, but the products might be the same, and that's really that's the the technical way of describing what I just said, I guess, is that that the products may be the same, but the offers are different. But it's not just offers are different in terms of landing pages and campaigns and that kind of stuff. By having a different brand, the entire brand can optimize and leverage its own particular market. So that's it. I'll see you tomorrow, and that'd be great. Or join me next, Tuesday, for the next episode of Startup, whatever we call it, Startup Tuesday. Sorry, that's what it's called. That's it. So I'll talk to you then. Bye bye for now. Bye bye. Bye bye.